Welcome to our session, everyone. We're really excited to bring this topic to you. We're looking forward to discussing how COVID is going to reshape Holiday 2020. My name's Kate Knight. I'm the Director of Publisher Development here in the London office. I've been in the affiliate industry for 9 years almost, mostly publisher side. I actually joined the CJ team back in March. Unfortunately, my first day with the company was also the first day of the official lockdown in London, so I'm yet to meet most of the team, but they've been amazingly accommodating, and I'm really looking forward just to get back to some kind of normal. I'm responsible for leading growth and partnership strategies here and driving publisher advertiser relationships to drive more long-term success with CJ.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Hart. I'm a global account director on the global publisher development team here at CJ. I'm based out of Los Angeles, and I've been in affiliate for over 5 years now. Prior to joining CJ, I worked at a publisher, 55 High Tao, which focuses on a Chinese cross-border. So in my role here, I oversee both the recruitment and management of publishers in East Asia, so Greater China, Japan, and Korea.
So let's go. So starting with, we're going to be looking into consumer considerations. So we're going to be digging into how shoppers are going to be changing the way they shop this holiday season, because it's not going to be one that we're used to. We're also going to be sharing some of our CJ insights. So we've been working with some of our teams internally to get some hints and tips on how to be successful and the things we might need to consider when we're building campaigns with our advertisers this year. And then finally, we're going to end on how we ensure seasonal success this holiday season. So looking at ways to make sure you're optimizing your campaigns and really preparing to be successful this year.
Thank you, Kate. So the first section, again, we'll be covering consumer considerations. So we're going to jump right into the holiday 2020 outlook. All right, so just a few things to expect, or what we expect to be seeing this year. So first off is a longer holiday season. So Prime Day, usually held in July, is expected to be held in October this year. As of today, there has been news out that looks like it will be scheduled for October 13th. So this effectively kickstarts the holiday campaign shopping season this year, which is obviously much sooner than we're used to. You know, in recent years, we've definitely seen an expansion of the holiday calendar, and this year, I think we're really going to see a much greater expansion with Prime Day starting it off. Additionally, we have other holidays that have a more global focus, but have been breaking into the mainstream in recent years. So the largest one of those is Singles Day, which is on November 11th. Although this started as a specifically Chinese shopping holiday, it's gained popularity both within APAC, and we've seen more and more advertisers running Singles Day campaigns here in the US. And with the Prime Day starting so early and with an expanded calendar, we expect to see sales launch early as well. Advertisers are going to be wanting to make sure that they are hitting the holiday season as hard as they can. And it means that it might not all be concentrated during that 1 week. Lastly, we obviously have a very important election coming up at the beginning of November. We do see that traffic does tend to start to decline as we approach and during the election. So this will change the calendar as well. So we might see promotions happening before the election and additional promotions happening afterward. The next point I wanted to raise about holiday 2020 is e-commerce being a winner. As COVID-19 continues to affect the economy of the US, this will continue to play in the minds of users and shoppers. There'll be less and less people who are willing to line up for a day or two outside of Best Buy and run in amongst crowds of people to get a great deal on a flat screen TV. So we believe this means that more shoppers are going to be turning to e-commerce, more than ever in history. In addition to this, curbside pickup, which we've already seen, had a lot of success during this time. We think this will continue and expand its success during holiday. Lastly is revenge shopping. While there are parts of the country that are still heavily affected by COVID, there are other parts that are starting to open up. I'm not as lucky in LA County, although Orange County to the south has been opening up more. And this means that there are more people out and about doing their shopping. And for those that have been stuck at home, have been worried about their job stability, with a more stable economy and a more open economy, we think that they'll be utilizing their free money, or I'm sorry, the money that they've saved, and will be getting their revenge on the stores this year. Next is what shoppers are taking into consideration this holiday season. So first and foremost on everyone's mind is safety. As I mentioned on the previous slide, factors of COVID-19 and whether or not people can be safe during a pandemic is obviously priority number one for people during this time. So shoppers are going to be concerned about whether or not they can be safe within a store, and are going to be thinking a lot about how they can shop safely this year. Next is the economy. So while we have seen recovery in certain sectors, there are still millions of unemployed in the US, meaning that economic pressure is certainly going to be a factor this year. So shoppers are going to be concerned about how they can thoughtfully spend their money this year, and will make great offers and discounts even more important this year. Lastly is gift selection. COVID-19 has changed a lot about the way that we go about our daily lives, and this is going to impact gifting as well. We aren't going to see, perhaps as many cruise tour line packages doing well this year, and what people end up buying is going to reflect our new reality.
Great, thanks so much, Alex. So we're now going to dive into some of those points that Alex raised, and look into how we can kind of optimize our campaign planning this year. So looking at safety first. So I'm just going to call out one of these, some research that was conducted by eMarketer. They've called out that nearly half of US adults said they were more interested on shopping online this year for the holiday season, which I think is a pretty impressive stat. I think it just reiterates how much e-commerce is going to be a real winner this year. Touching on some of the in-store concerns, obviously in-store is going to be a lot tougher. We're not going to have those enjoyable experiences of going in store and browsing with our friends and family, and choosing that gift with our loved ones. It's going to be a very different experience. There's going to be shorter windows of stores being open as well. So with businesses having to pull back, they may open for more limited time to make the most of the periods when they will be open. And then the ramped up hygiene products are going to take some of that fun out of it as well. So I think really it does mean that the online opportunities are really going to surpass those than the in-store this year. What does this mean? So increased online sales, curbside pickup, as Alex mentioned, is going to remain really popular this year. We don't call it curbside in England, we call it click and collect, and it's been absolutely huge here, especially with grocery, with people not leaving the house and wanting to kind of feel safe and have things delivered that they don't need to leave the house for. So yeah, that's going to be the secret weapon this year. So make sure that you are working with your advertisers to see who can work with delivering products in that way, and make sure that you're pushing those brands. Next, we're going to look at the spending economics. So looking at the types of gifts and things you might want to consider, and the types of businesses that you may want to be promoting this holiday season. So with the pinched economy, this means that consumers have been a little bit more considerate about where they're spending their money, which Alex mentioned. So we've seen some real success with the more small niche businesses. That doesn't mean to say that our large partners aren't going to be successful, but we have seen that people have taken a keen interest in putting into those smaller businesses. So businesses that have a clear product, maybe a very niche market, Etsy has done a fantastic, phenomenal job of supporting those small businesses during COVID. They sold more than 12 million face masks in April, and this totaled around 133 million in sales, which is really impressive, and they continue to support small businesses during this difficult time. So when you're looking for those niche advertisers, do speak to your CJ team, because we have lots of tools to make sure that you're finding the right partners for your programs. Next is the experiential. So normal gifting situations are going to be on hold for the foreseeable. So consumers are thinking ahead. So the types of gifts that people are considering, if you're like me, maybe going wine tasting is on your list. If anyone wants to sign me up for some wine tasting, I won't say no. You can just put it in the notes and we can get that set up. But yeah, no, I think these experiential gifts are going to be a real winner. So buying now means that you're giving to businesses in the here and now, which is really helping support them get through this tricky period. And it gives you something to look forward to. And then moving on to self-gifting, which I think has been really popular this year. If you're me, spare cash has been burning a hole in my pocket, so I'm sure it's been burning a hole in yours too. I've really kind of got to grips with treating myself. The saying "treat yourself" if you're a parks and recreation fan like myself is the term that we're all familiar with, but it's actually got a new term. It's been branded as the lipstick effect. So self-gifting, it's okay to buy yourselves gifts this year. Don't feel guilty about it. Some of the most purchased gifts include work from home wear, luxury goods, and leather handbags and high-end sneakers. So yeah, really interesting insight there, and make sure you are speaking with the team, looking at products to make sure that you're building those into your campaigns. So then we're just going to jump into some of the gifts, and this ties in nicely as I just mentioned with the products. It's really important that you speak with your advertisers to make sure that you're aligning yourself with the products that they're focusing on this year. So buying for children, if your audience is suited to kind of family demographics and things like that, make sure that you're pushing fun, educational gifts. Children are being at home a lot more this year, and parents are having to homeschool their children, which I'm sure some of you can appreciate is extremely tricky. So the last thing they probably want is a electronic drum kit or an electronic piano. It's probably not what they want. So maybe looking at the fact that the gaming industry has seen a huge uptick this year, maybe considering something like an educational game or something that can help them with their schooling and keep them busy, but also keep parents safe. And then subscription gifts. So not touching on my my wine problem that I don't have, but maybe something like signing one of your family members up to some kind of subscription, wine, or maybe groceries and cooking. There are all some great options to consider, and we have loads of brands that you should explore on the network there as well. And then digital gifts, so gifts that you buy that you mean you don't have to leave the house. We're all looking for reasons just to stay safe, as Alex touched upon. So if you're like me and you're an avid traveler and you're kind of missing that experience of going away, maybe you could get someone the gift of teaching a language. We have a couple of different brands in the network that can help give you some ideas to promote campaigns for. And then thoughtful home gifts. Some of our team, we were just discussing it earlier, are big houseplant fans. It appears we all live in small oases. So make sure that you maybe think about gifts like buying people plants, or even actually plant subscription is a really great option too, talking about subscription gifts too. And then beauty and self-care. The sales have increased 32% during COVID, and it's become a lot more popular with younger demographics. So reduced social costs means that people just have that little bit more disposable income to spend, and it seems to be going to self-care. So yeah, it's a great option to be considering when you're planning out your brands and your campaigns.
Great, thank you, Kate. So next we'll be touching on some insights gleaned from our network and from reporting, and how it will factor into 2020. So first is an examination of verticals that were the top performing verticals during holiday 2019 on CJ, and how we expect them to perform this year. So first is clothing and apparel. Clothing and apparel performed very well last year, but we do think that this will be strongly affected by COVID. with more people staying at home, less people going out, it means that there are less reasons to be dressing up and to be buying new clothes. So we think that for holiday 2020, we will see a continued dip in performance for clothing and apparel. Similarly, accessories, which include things like watches and jewelry, was a strong performer last year on the CJ network. Similar to clothing apparel, less people are going out, which means less likelihood to be asking for, to be buying accessories at this time. So again, we think we should see a fair performance, not a very strong showing from that vertical this year. Next is recreation and leisure. So it was the third top performing vertical on CJ last year. And we do think that it will continue to do well this year. While, COVID-19 quarantine has affected so much about how we kind of experience our lives. And that includes recreation and leisure. While the travel vertical is down, people aren't taking planes or vacations very often, at least up to resorts or Disney World. We are seeing an uptick in kind of non-traditional getaways. So camping, hiking have all become very, very popular. Campsites across California have been booked solid for months. And so we think that this will be reflected in performance for holiday 2020. Next is art, photo, and music. This was the second best performing vertical last year, and we really think this will continue to do really well in 2020. As Kate's touched on, more people are at home, and so they're viewing their homes as their castles, which means more home decoration, more time and interest in hanging arts and photos on the wall, and certainly more time to listen to music. And lastly, our number one vertical for last year was food and drinks. We again think this will be a really strong performer this year. As many of you may have noticed, Kate does have a fondness for wine, and it would seem that she is not the only one. It does perform really well, and we expect to see lots more people buying wine for themselves and for others this year. Next is some predictions that we have as a company for this year, and some recommendations for publishers. So first is be prepared to run product lead deals and offers. Clients are going to be reacting to what's hot, and this could change rapidly. With a very unique year that we've had in 2020, holiday 2020, of course, will be no different. That means that advertisers will be seeking every advantage they can and focusing on offers and specific products that are performing well will be part of that strategy. So it's important that you remain on your toes and keep an eye out for what advertisers are really pushing when it comes to hot products. Secondly is consumers will be savvier and seeking better deals. This is always true in affiliate. Our users are no stranger to discounts, but with economic pressure by the pandemic, this is going to be an overdrive this year. People are going to really want to stretch that dollar out, and advertisers know this. There's going to be a lot of really great competitive offers, and it's important that you are really well positioned to take advantage of those. Lastly is react to urgency. So consumers may not be waiting until Black Friday. With an earlier start to the promotional calendar, with Prime Day starting mid-October, and with other holidays like Singles Day, the consumers are going to be faced with a very long holiday shopping season, which means that they're not going to be waiting for Black Friday. If they see a really strong offer on something that they want, they might buy in October, they might buy on Singles Day. So it's important that you keep that in mind, that you remain flexible and that you have placements booked out throughout the calendar to make sure you're taking advantage of any early offers that come up.
Awesome, that was great. Thanks so much. Right, now we're going to look into how you can make sure that you're going to be successful this this holiday season. It really does come down to some very basic things, but it's just great to remind yourself of what these are and what they might be able to add to your campaigns and getting those over the line. So the first one that we looked at was being flexible. So Alex mentioned it briefly then. Uncertainty with the climate means that advertisers are really navigating the unknown, and as publishers too, you're going to be doing the same. So it's really key that you just take a moment just to make sure that you're able to pivot on ideas. It's going to be a massive opportunity for us all, and we should embrace it. But just remember that we're all on this journey together, and everyone is very much learning. So have your campaigns ready, but also be ready to kind of switch them up and maybe alter them as you go. And then remember to create value with everything that you do. Transparency is going to be a massive point to consider this year, and there's going to be a greater need for it. Advertisers are going to be looking at those budgets and making sure that they are getting the best that they possibly can from them. So budget management and forecasting is going to be key. So make sure that you're putting good case studies together and putting the kind of the best opportunities in front of your partners. And be competitive with your opportunities as well. So just bear in mind that there is going to be more competition for getting those precious dollars this year. And then driving trust and transparency. So relationships with advertisers are key. We want you to create trust with the case studies and the fact that you can prove that you're able to deliver something. Even though it's going to be very difficult to kind of know exactly what's going to happen this year, just presenting them with something that gives them a bit of, comfort and trust that you know what you're doing. And be open and transparent about what works for you. So not every opportunity is going to be an opportunity for you. Be sure to know when you need to move away from something and move on to something else. Allow the advertiser to move on to a partner that would be a great fit for them, and make sure that you're looking for partners that are going to work for you. It's going to be extremely competitive, as we mentioned, and just know where to spend your time. And then thinking long term. So building long-term relationships, look past those key dates, as Alex has mentioned. And make sure that you're building campaigns that can be adapted and banked for later, just to ensure that you might not be able to get everything over the line in this situation. And switch up your advertisers as well. So if you've got an advertiser that you've never worked with before, maybe consider trying them out this time and give it a go. This is performance marketing, so this is the world of testing and trying things out. So yeah, give it a shot. So just to summarize on that, I hope you found it really useful, but we wanted just to make sure that we're setting you up for success. So to go back to Alex's first points, understanding the new users, your users' new reality. So looking at the fact that the sales may come early, Amazon Prime Day has been brought forward, the elections are going to change things. So consumers are going to be thinking about things slightly differently this year, and they're going to be maybe a little bit more conscious to get a good deal. Make sure that you're getting your campaigns out to your advertisers, putting your pitches together, getting your ducks in a row, as they say, and really get ready for consumers to really engage with your business. And then next point, just to be agile, transparent, and create value. I mentioned this a moment ago, but just to reiterate, creating value looks like bringing case studies to the table, providing forecasting, just giving your advertisers a good confidence that you know what you're doing and you're going to deliver themselves during this very difficult period. And then finally, utilize your CJ team and resources. So I'm not sure which publishers we have on this call, but I think we're going to have a mix of those, some of whom are managed and some of you guys that maybe find your way through the CJ resources. But we have a fantastic resource called The Junction, which is a place for you to go and get insights and reports and statistics. And we do loads of fantastic things on here. We also do the COVID reporting on here as well, so you can understand how categories are performing, and also just guide you on your way in terms of maybe some inspiration of how your planning can go, hot topics within the industry also. So these are some of our kind of most recent campaigns. Thank you for, we've got the link in there as well, so make sure you check that out. Thanks so much. We've also got some great articles in here looking at Black Friday and also how to get started with your holiday checklist. So yeah, make sure you have a look. It's a fantastic resource and I think you guys will get a lot out of it. So yeah, thanks so much.